Hey, I'm Clinton from AK, and I'm going to take you through the new Plasma collection with Craig. He's a product designer. He knows a whole bunch of insights that we can hopefully share with you. So, Craig, give me the lowdown on what you feel the key changes are on the new Plasmas.
Well, clearly these plasmas are our highest aspect foils in the range, so starting with that, these plasmas are increased in aspect ratio. We've also looked at how we can really optimize the connection between the fuselage and the front wing, and we've done this through our blended fuselage connection. Not only is this going to give us a real stiff and bomb-proof connection between the front wing and fuselage, minimizing any sort of movement and giving you a real locked-in and responsive feel from the foil. The hydrodynamics alone from this connection are going to give you absolutely improved pump and glide efficiency, and that's essentially what these plasmas are really aimed at, is giving you ultimate pump and glide.
So, looking at that variable aspect ratio and the optimized profiles, so I'd imagine, once you've got that blended wing, like you can really do some magic with the profiles and the aspect ratios. Can you give us a difference, say, between the 1100 and the 2050?
Yeah, so looking at aspect ratio first, the 1100's got an aspect ratio of 11, and going up to the 2050, this drops in aspect ratio slightly down to a 9, and this is just purely to keep the wingspan to something manageable. Looking at profile selection, the 2050 and the 1600 make use of a slightly more undercambered profile, and this is going to give us essentially a little bit more of a low-end grunt and performance on the slower speeds on these foils, whereas the 1100, the 880 and the 1350, they make use of an absolutely optimized thinner profile for improved speed and efficiency and these sort of speeds.
So looking at the 1100 compared to the 1030 in the tracer, how much finer is the profile on the 1100 plasma?
Yeah, so to put it into perspective, the tracer itself actually has quite a fine profile already, and in the plasmas we've brought this down even further and brought this to maybe about 20% thinner if you're comparing the 1100 to the 1030 tracer.
Oh, that's quite significant. And I guess also looking at the position of the mast, so we moved that back. What would the benefit be there with the higher aspect foils?
Yeah, so our center of lift is still going to be maintained through the front wing, and the balance of the foils maintained in this position, but moving the mast further back from our previous generations has just improved our lateral stability in our foils and given you more of the yaw stability that you're looking for, maintaining tracking and just general handling of these foils, and this comes from the mast itself.
So yeah, I think moving on to the fuselages, then with all of these changes, what have we done fuselage-wise in terms of length?
So fuselages, we've got these really nice fuselage extensions which plug into the back of all the front wings, and it ships standard with a mid-length 31.5 centimeter fuselage. This is the size that we've just found works across the range completely. And you can step it up in length to 36.5 centimeter or down in size to 26.5 centimeter. And this is going to give you a little bit more stability on the longer side and more maneuverability and maybe improved pump cadence on the smaller sizes.
And then tail wings, working in conjunction with those, we have two sizes that we ship across the range. Maybe give us some more background on that.
Yeah, so the arc down G10 tail, which you should be familiar with, this ships standard with our 1600 and 2050 in the 220 size. And then looking at the slightly smaller size plasmas, being the 1350, the 1100 and the 880, these ship with a new G10 tail wing. This is the higher aspect tail wing, and it's called the Rhythm. This is going to give you just kind of optimized glide and pump efficiency. We've optimized the profile on these two, as well as just looking at the shape of the tail, how we can keep that maneuverability and maintain an exceptional glide.
And we still have the trimmable fuse that we've had for, I think, 4 generations, right?
Yeah, we've kept this unchanged. This is our our system that we use for trimming the tail wings, and it's essentially just an arced section on the back of the fuselage, and you'll mount your tail straight to that, and depending on the rider's preference or setup, depending on your board and how much lift you want out of your tail, you can either shift the tail wing slightly further forward for a little bit less lift, or slide it slightly further back for a little bit more lift, depending on your preference. And you just absolutely can do it on the go. You don't even need any shims or anything like that.
So looking into the mast, I guess for me, one of the big breakthroughs has been the development in the mast, and especially something, within the plasma range, considering that we only ship the plasmas with carbon masts. The mast for me had been a huge step, and I think giving more background on that would be great.
Yeah, so coming in 3 sizes, we've got the 78 centimeter, 85, and 98 centimeter carbon plus mast. And something about these masts which is quite unique is just our carbon type that we've used. We've managed to push the technology even further, and I've used ultra high modulus carbon fiber, which in itself is just inherently stiff. We've managed to maintain the 14 millimeter mast thickness and integrated a central spine into this mast to give us an absolutely stiff 10 out of 10 rating for how these masts are performing.
And I would say with the super high aspect foils, you really need that stiffness, right? You have a lot of torsional load on the connection, and we're really getting that with the updated mast. I think that's a significant point.
Yeah.
I think that would be it from our side. So that is the new Plasma. If there's any questions, please pop them in the comments or get in touch with us.